Joining me now, our Monday panel of MPs. Liberal MP Aaron Violi, Labor's Sam Ray. Gents, great to see you both. Aaron, interesting comments from Peter Dutton at the weekend telling the News Corp papers that you can and he will win. Do you share his optimism and confidence?
Well, you've always got to have strong self-belief, and we do as a coalition. It's use a footy analogy, no point going into a game thinking you can't win the game, and we absolutely believe we can. We know there's more work to do. We've got to continue to engage with our communities, put forward the positive plans that we have as a coalition. And the reality is, after 2.5 years, there's no one doing better today than when Anthony Albanese and Labor came to power. We're feeling that. The Australian people feel it. And they also know that Anthony Albanese has no solutions to the challenges that they face. Peter has continued to lead the way. Even just this weekend, we see that the government have taken our housing policy when it comes to pausing foreign investment for 2 years. I mean, we proposed this 18 months ago, so we've lost that time, unfortunately, through the weak leadership of the Prime Minister. But it's clear that there is a pathway to victory if we keep working hard, we keep listening to the community and putting forward our positive policies, but we don't take anything for granted.
And there's the basis for that optimism, Sam, given you look at that news poll today and a majority of those surveyed don't think Labor deserves another term.
Kieran, this isn't about optimism. This is more arrogance from Peter Dutton. Let's remember that just 3 years ago, in fact, less than 3 years ago, Peter Dutton was part of Scott Morrison's Liberal government. They had a decade in government. They didn't solve any of the big issues our country faced. They left us with $1 trillion of Liberal debt. They left us with skyrocketing inflation. They couldn't even manage to order the vaccines during the pandemic. Now this bloke wants to be the Prime Minister. He'll say and do anything it takes, and the arrogance of it is truly breathtaking. He's putting $350 billion of cuts on the table for Australians. That's health and it's education. And as Aaron and I fleshed out on here last week, Kieran, the Liberals will not tell us what they're going to cut. $350 billion of cuts. I know my community's going to end up worse off under Peter Dutton.
Now, we know that Sam has called for the RBA to cut rates tomorrow. Aaron, if they do, there'll be many constituents in Casey and Hawke. I know Sam's constituents as well who'll be applauding a rate reduction tomorrow, Aaron.
Look, there's no doubt people are struggling. I must say quickly, Kieran, interesting that Sam's answer there had an opportunity to talk about the government and what they've delivered for 2.5 years and spoke again about Peter Dutton because they've got no agenda. And I do also note that the Treasurer was out today apparently talking to Labor MPs saying they shouldn't comment on the independent RBA, which I agree with. There is no doubt that the Australian people are struggling. 12 interest rate rises under this government. A cut tomorrow would bring some relief for the Australian people, absolutely, but it doesn't change the fact that every other comparable economy had interest rate cuts about 6 months ago. We've had 21 months of a per capita GDP recession. The Australian people are struggling. Hopefully there is relief tomorrow because under Anthony Albanese, prices are going up. They need all the relief they can get. So we'll see what the independent RBA decide tomorrow.
Aaron, I don't think the comments or, the reported suggestion by the Treasurer to keep your powder dry is going to stop Sam because he has said it repeatedly on this program.
Let's find out.
He wants a cut. He wants a cut.
I want a cut.
That's right, isn't it, Sam?
I absolutely want a cut. My community needs a cut. Now, I agree with Aaron and the Treasurer and most other people that the RBA is independent, should be independent. It'll make its decision based on economics, not politics, and that's important. And of course, I support that. But my job is to stand up for my community. And we need a cut. We need an interest rate cut. I think the real question here is why is Peter Dutton out there goading the Reserve Bank into delaying an interest rate cut for Australians? And the answer, we all know the answer, it's because he thinks it'll help him win an election. There's nothing this bloke won't do to try and get his knees under the table at the lodge. And there's questions that have got to be asked here. I mean, has Peter Dutton been given private briefings from the RBA? And in those briefings, has he advocated against a rate cut? These are the sort of the concerns that I've got, Kieran. I think Peter Dutton has a lot to answer when he comes out publicly and goads the Reserve Bank into holding off on interest rate cuts for people in my community.
There is something that he's not holding off on, and that is having a crack at the insurance industry. Aaron, did you welcome that yesterday on Sunday Agenda, where he said that he would be open to divestiture powers to break up insurance outfits if they don't start to look at their premiums?
Kieran, there's no doubt that insurance is one of the biggest concerns that I have in my community when I talk to the community, particularly in the Dandenongs and the Upper Yarra, areas that are emergency and disaster prone. They're having a couple of significant issues. One is the cost of insurance, but two is whether they can get insurance. And the third part is when a disaster hits, we had the June storms in 2021, which was significant in my community, how long it takes for them to be rebuilt and to engage with their insurance company. So there are some significant questions and concerns. If insurance companies are doing the right thing, then they've got nothing to worry about. It's a similar, again, to divestiture with groceries. Again, the Coalition has led the way. The Prime Minister's gone with a wet lettuce code that isn't in effect yet and will make no difference. Trust me, as someone who worked in the industry for a decade and talking to industry people, they know this new mandatory code won't make a difference. And so we're saying the same thing. We've led the way. Ultimately, if you're a grocery company or you're an insurance company, divestiture will be set up to not impact if you're doing the right thing. They only have anything to fear when it comes to groceries if they're using their market power in an incorrect way. And we'll continue to look at what we can do to help Australians when it comes to insurance, because it's a significant issue for many in the community.
The Insurance Council, that's significant for them. They're kicking up a stink. Sam, what do you think?
Now, this is more dishonesty from the Liberal Party. It's more dishonesty from Peter Dutton. He comes out, he floats this balloon in the media yesterday, and then his deputy, or the proposed deputy prime minister, David Littleproud, the leader of the National Party, comes out in the media this morning and says, no, it's not a policy. So Aaron and his mates in the Liberal Party need to own up to this. Are they announcing policy, or are they just chatting bubbles? Are they trying to lead by putting forward the ideas that Australians need to address the real issues before them, or are they preying on people's concerns, on people's vulnerabilities in the community by pretending that they care about these sorts of issues while absolutely not putting forward policies to address them? And the answer right there is, of course, that Peter Dutton will do anything to win the election, and we all know that under Peter Dutton we're going to be doing worse off. This is not a real policy. It's a dishonest media play.
Sam, Ray, Aaron Violi, gents, we've got to go. Catch you next week. We'll talk to those two gentlemen in a week.
Authorised by Aaron Violi, Liberal Party, Lilydale.